All right, Tyler, welcome to the channel.
Thanks, man. Happy to be on.
So could you start us off by just telling us your age, location, and what you do for work?
Yeah, absolutely. So name is Tyler. Age, I'm 26. Location, I live in New York, downtown, FiDi area for anyone watching who's familiar. Occupation, I work at a hedge fund. Just started this past year. Before that was just in more general finance.
At a hedge fund, what can you expect to make, and what are you specifically making? We'll call it after tax on an annual basis.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So at a hedge fund, it's really going to depend on what type of a hedge fund you're at, what type of products you're trading. If you're a trader, if you're something else at the firm. I guess to speak about myself specifically, after tax, I'm pulling in probably 180. And then before tax, that's like 300-ish.
Yeah, makes sense. Monthly basis, does 15,000 sound right?
Uh, I just have my own income sheet up here to the left. Yeah, that does seem a little low to be honest. So every 2 weeks, I'm getting 4 grand. It so 8,000 a month is correct. The issue is, and here's where I've already gone off the rails here.
Okay.
Most of the comp from a hedge fund comes from your bonus.
Yep.
So it's not so much that I have this very consistent income path. It's really that, most of the time I'm making 8 grand a month. And then once a year I get 150, 200 grand, whatever. Some people get
Yeah.
a couple million in bonus. So that's why it's much lower for me on a monthly basis. And then, one month a year, I'll make whatever, 200 grand.
Okay, got it. And yeah, so if we include that bonus and pretend that was averaged out through month, we
Yes.
can call that 15K. All right, so let's go with that. Let's remember this annual number and this monthly number. We'll see it later on in the spreadsheet. To start off, do you know what you have in cash right now in your checking and savings accounts?
Yeah, it's roughly going to be about 20 grand.
And that's for checking.
Yeah, I don't have anything in my savings. It's just all in my
Okay.
checking.
Do you have 401k, HSA, things like that?
Yeah, so I don't have an HSA because I don't have an HDHP. So for 401k, I think there's about 100 grand in there. And then other, I guess, just in my general sort of, well, I do have, I guess I used to, from my old firm, I had an ESPP where, you can purchase your company's stock at a discount. I think in that, I probably have about 25 grand in there right now. And then outside of that, I apologize, my cat is hitting into my camera here. Outside of that, I just have in general in sort of a personal brokerage account,
Mm-hmm.
another 125 grand.
Okay. Let me add the 125 to the 25 for that other section. So we'll call that 150.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And is that all your stocks or investments, bonds, things like that?
Yeah, that's right. I don't have any bonds that I own personally. Maybe soon I'll be able to invest in one of my sort of funds at my job, but currently I do not.
Okay, sounds good. And this other section, I would call it, consider that like cars or any big ticket items like that. Living in Manhattan, do you have a car?
I do not have a car. Ryan and I are good friends, and I don't drive anymore. I will never own a car. So no, that will be zero.
Okay, yeah, I'm not surprised. Um, any other assets you want to mention, or should we get to the debt section?
I can't think of any other assets.
Do you have any debt? So I imagine zero car debt, any student
That's
loan
right.
or credit cards, anything like that?
Uh, no sort of credit card debt other than what revolves. Obviously, I pay it off
Yeah.
at the end of each month just because, you don't want to pay the high interest rate on that. I don't currently have a mortgage. Thankfully, I don't have any student loans. I was able to pay that off from working in finance. And then I also don't have a car loan because I don't have a car. No other debt currently.
Awesome. You're at about 270 grand right now. this will be interesting. So we're gonna go into your monthly expenses.
Yeah, so right now I'm paying 3,700 a month, and that is just rent. And then on top of that, you have utilities there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So utilities is going to be probably all in like 150 a month. Was that 1,800 a year? I believe it's monthly. Yeah. Automotive, thankfully, is zero, but I guess if we're including Ubers, it would be higher. I would have to check what my Ubers are. If I divide that by 12, call it about 200 a month. A lot of
Okay.
that is, for me, it's actually the metro ticket
Okay.
that I have to pay for to get to work. Company reimburses a portion of that, but we could use 200 here.
Sounds good. 200 to get to work a month. How about for groceries specifically, not including restaurants?
Groceries specifically, not including restaurants. Okay, so I have 900 for the year,
Okay.
which seems absurd. And then you'll laugh at my restaurant number. So 900 divided by 12 is 75.
Yeah, sounds right. Okay, you want to go to the restaurant real quick, then go back up to needs. Let's see your
Yeah, so
restaurants in New York. If you're
so
spending
so restaurant
75 on groceries a year, that's a month. Let's see what restaurants
so
are.
restaurants I have 13,400,
Okay.
which you divide by 12 is going to be what, 1,100.
Yeah, perfect. 11, 17. All right, how about a phone bill?
Phone bill, yeah, at this point I probably should get off of my parents' plan, but it is zero.
Wait, let's go back to this income experiment.
I, I
Okay,
don't.
just checking.
I I just haven't gotten around to it.
Got it.
Honestly,
All right.
I should get off of that though.
All right.
Medical, I just had to get off of my parents because I turned 26 and a half,
Okay.
and you no longer can be on it.
Yep.
But I'm on my firm $0 plan, so it doesn't cost me anything right now.
As in zero premiums a month. Even when you go to a doctor, you don't have to pay anything for any.
I probably do have to pay anything, but I am a generally pretty healthy dude because I don't
Okay.
do much. So I don't have a lot of opportunities to get sick.
Fair enough. All right, we can leave that at zero. Maybe there's, well, how about another section that you would consider in the
Oh,
needs? What
in
would
the
you
needs,
add?
wow, in the
Yeah.
needs, what else do I spend on? I'm just looking at what I spend on here. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, so the
Oh,
gym, I do spend on each month, and that
okay.
is not necessarily a need, but I have recently liked to go to the gym. I go to an expensive gym, which is probably a waste of money. But I spend about 250 a month on that, and then I have a trainer for about 200 a month, so that's 450 a month.
Okay. And I'll include all these in this other category. You want to
Okay.
add maybe like $50 a month for healthcare in case there's like one thing that happens later on in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. If
All right.
yeah, $50 for healthcare, we could toss in $100 a month for my cat.
Sure.
Um, Outside of that, I spend quite a bit on education. I just I like to read a lot.
Okay.
Probably like 400 on books a month.
A month. Jeez.
I spend a lot of money on books a month.
Okay. So that gets us to $1,000 in other and about 5 grand a month on needs.
Yeah, that
Uh,
sounds right.
we already talked about restaurants. How about for entertainment for New York? So I'm sure you're having fun all the time, right?
Right, right. So Ryan's saying this and he's being facetious because he knows I don't do anything else. So the number is very close to zero for entertainment. I, I, I can't even. I'm looking at my bill for the past year, and there's like it's like $70 per month of entertainment, and that's all Spotify or like other like Netflix, which I don't even know why I paid for it.
Okay.
But like those are my entertainments.
And you're big on fashion and clothes, so you have a big store budget.
Yeah, yeah. Again,
Yeah.
Ryan knows me very well. I do not spend much on clothing at all.
Hmm.
It's been zero for the past 3, 4 years, maybe every once in a while, I will buy uh, a new shirt, and maybe, I mean, this is really, really pushing how high it is. 50 a month. I mean, that's probably too
Okay.
high, but I mean, most of the things that I have, I got for free. Um, like most of my shirts, but yeah, I don't know.
All right. Anything else in wants we would include?
Anything else in wants? Yeah, not. I don't really have a lot of wants. I wake up, I go to the gym, I go to work, I go to bed. Not a lot else happening.
Nice. All right. So if we pause it there, this is your snapshot on monthly spending. Average per month is 6,300 or so. I'll now go into the cash flow section where we compare your income to this 63, 62 spend. Monthly basis, you're taking in about 8,500 more than you spend. And if we expand this out to an annual basis, uh, after tax, you're making over 100,000 that can go to spending or savings and retirement investments.
The one thing that I don't necessarily always look at my monthly cash flow like this, just because it definitely doesn't feel like I have 8 grand of cash flow coming in each month. So I
Right.
think it's more instructive to look at it without the bonus.
Sure.
And I am then, I'm still breaking even. I'm still in the black, but it is a lot closer than this would have you. That seems much more uh, realistic, I guess. And the other
Yeah.
reason that I wanted to look at this is because in the industry that I'm in, it's not a guarantee that you'll keep the job or
Right.
that you won't get laid off or even that you'll get the bonus. It's discretionary comp. Some people don't get it. A lot of the big banks right now are, giving donuts to people
Yeah.
at very high numbers. And so it's one of those things where I look at it like this and I say, okay, that's my comp. And, I do expect a bonus, but to the extent that it doesn't come, at least I know I'm still in the black and okay.
All right. So next step is retirement. So we'll do some projections. We have your initial age of 26 years old. We can play with this number for how old you want to be when you retire. Do you plan to work until you're 65? Do you want to retire early? What are you thinking at this point?
Yeah, it depends. So if I find a wife and I have children, I think I'd like it to be earlier than that. I think I'd like it to be 45.
Okay.
If I don't find a wife and I don't have children, I don't want to stop working ever.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see those two scenarios as they play out with the rest of this. All right. So for your initial investment, let's go back to your net worth. So we'll call it at 250 for existing investments that'll be for your retirement.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay. So we got 250 for yearly retirement withdrawal. Imagine you're older. Do you think you'll still be living in New York and paying those high rents?
Yeah, if I have a
Uh,
wife, no, I don't expect to be living in New York. I would like to be living somewhere cheaper with a bit more greenery than here, a few less rats. I would live somewhere cheaper, hopefully, without a doubt.
okay. So if you had to give me a number of what you would spend in retirement, or let's say you get Social Security, which is X amount per year. How much are you actually taking out of this investment account to fuel your expenses in retirement?
Yeah, hopefully I could take out, and Ryan knows this better than I, knows it very well, but 4% of what's in my account every year is what I would like to aim for, or perhaps a little bit lower, 3% of what's in my account.
And if we had to give that a number for this projection,
I think 60 is a little low, but so let's, because with inflation as
yeah,
well, but I guess maybe it's inflation adjusted. Let's do 80 grand.
that sounds good. This is so far including if you retired at 45 and didn't save anything else for the next 20 years. So hopefully you will be saving a lot. Do you want to pick a number of how much you're actually investing on a yearly basis?
Yeah, it's going to be about 110 grand right now, but it should grow as my comp hopefully grows.
Nice. All right. So we see that that looks much better. So again, this is age at the bottom and this is account value over time. The last two assumptions we can make, the yearly return and the retirement inflation. So starting off with the yearly return, I'm sure you know that S&P 500 long-term average is about 10%. subtract inflation and taxes. Do you want to pick a number for an assumption for your investment growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think, are we saying, what do you think? 6% too low, or you were thinking?
I'm whatever you think for what you've seen for yourself. So I don't
I
know what
would
you
say
invested in.
7%. Well,
Okay.
if we go what I've seen for myself, it would be lower than that because I've taken a few bad bets so far,
Yep.
but hopefully it'll revert to the mean. 3% might be a little high. Fed targets 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Recently, obviously, we're running higher. Maybe long run we do run higher. We'll see what happens. 3% sounds fine.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't do much outside of working to hit this, so
Yeah. Makes
one
sense.
would hope. Appreciate it, man. Happy being on the show. Happy to see where I'm at with all of this, and hope these projections are correct.
Yeah, we'll see in 10, 20 years. We'll have you back on the channel if we're still around here.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be super interesting.